What's up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Monday. If you see any scam ads on this video, please don't participate in those. Well, by now, I guess first and foremost, there's an elephant in the room here with this breaking quote-unquote news announcement, which is obviously not current. This was just announced today. This is the rhetoric for the market rise and Bitcoin breaking all-time high. But, essentially, and I'm not going to go over this too in depth, Tesla announced this essentially on their balance sheet through an SEC filing today that they bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. But the actual purchase occurred last month. We know that Bitcoin went through a little bit of a drought last month as well. You better believe that Tesla had, technical analysts and stuff like that looking at charts and stuff like that for when to buy into Bitcoin and, in preparation for the potential rise. So this did not just occur. This has nothing to do with what's happening with Bitcoin price right now. Now, the news obviously presents a hype cycle type thing, but it's pretty hard to move an asset like Bitcoin that has, close to $1 trillion worth of capital invested into it. I didn't look at what the dominance chart is today. I would imagine that Bitcoin's probably somewhere around $600 or $700 billion, something like that, as far as market cap. But yeah, this is news that is just to fuel this hype cycle type thing, because they bought back in January. I will say at this point in time, looking at my portfolio, even, personally, I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that have a lot more money that they can afford to lose invested into this market than I do. Some people that I talk to personally have way more money invested into this market. I've invested exactly what I was willing to, what I was willing to lose completely. I've been here through the bull market, I should say close to the parabolic phase of the bull market in 2017. I had Bitcoin all the way at the beginning of 2017, really didn't pay attention. I really started paying attention probably August of 2017 is when I really started paying attention. I would imagine we are probably somewhere in the August, September, maybe even October timeframe if I'm comparing 2017 to now, where we've got probably a few months left at the most for Bitcoin to go up and have a somewhat of a blow off top. So what I'm trying to tell people is, and I did this thing and I told you guys that I'm going to be posting additional coins to Patreon, which I certainly am going to do. I actually closed that tier on there at $35. I'm going to open up, I said $50. I'll open up a small tier. I'm going to do it at like $43 or $44. And I'm probably going to only do like 15 or 20 more people in there and then I'm done, because this bull market's got maybe a few months left, but we're going to see still, in my opinion, multiple coins that do a 10, 20x, etc., especially ones that are, recently released that look like they may be decent. And we're going to see these older projects still extremely go through these parabolic cycles, in my opinion. So if you are holding bags right now, I would not sell out of my bags based on anything anybody posts. I would try to look up as much information as I can about those old bags and understand what I actually hold. Now, if you're holding something that's, complete crap, maybe that's a different story, but we're going to see multiple assets that, we're seeing it with Cardano and ADA right now, ADA. It's essentially attacking these levels that were being held as resistance all the way back from 2017. I actually held ADA in 2017. So, anytime even like something on the Patreon type thing, I don't trade out of the long-term bags that I have. All my long-term bags are set. This to me was, a thing that I could potentially take advantage of this bull market and try to, with a completely speculative mindset, get into these things that could go up in value. That is not saying that you should do the same thing. When I post things on that platform, it is to inform people that, hey, maybe this is interesting to take a look at. And I'm extremely transparent. I always say if I'm buying something, but I always say this may not be a buy for you because it's extremely risky. I could get wrecked. And, I've had a lot of wins on there. I've had some losses, but this is Tesla buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Yeah, that's not the reason that Bitcoin's going up in price right now, but it's certainly part of the hype cycle. Bitcoin was going to go up in price anyways. We've been posting about it for a while on here. If we look at XRP, it certainly looks like it's being very quiet right now. But interestingly enough, I mean, we're still sitting pretty right above the 21 EMA on the weekly, and we're holding it as support right now. And on the daily, we're holding it as support right now. We just had a cross. So I'm really curious to see what XRP does here. But if you look at the regular moving averages, I didn't pull them up today, but we were getting close to a death cross on XRP, which take that however you want to take it. You know, it is what it is. XRP's its own animal. I haven't sold out of XRP. Still holding my XRP. I'm hoping that we see some sort of a price increase. We do know that XRP is somewhat of a laggard in this market, so we will see what happens. A lot of people, you know, use these previous fractals and try to overlay them and stuff like that, which if that essentially happens, you could get us up into like 13 bucks. So I would love to see a $13 XRP or a 10 or a 12 or, you know, whatever dollar XRP. Now, I saw this today. If you were not aware, this is Gala Games. And Crypto Eddie did a great video on this, so I am not going to go into all of this. I would rather you go to her channel and support her channel. But this is a use case for smart contract technology that Go Gala Games and at Flare Networks passionately believes in. Game-related non-fungible tokens coming onto Flare that could even have uses in multiple games. Now, what you need to understand about these NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, are that a lot of people are pushing these to the side, sweeping them under the rug, for lack of a better phrasing. And that is a mistake, in my opinion, because, you know, I posted about that Polka Pet thing. I think that it could potentially be big, but I also am more so involved in that because of the utility that I get from the NFTs in the Polkadot ecosystem. You essentially get airdrop tokens. You can get put into lotteries to receive additional airdrops. You can get put into lotteries to receive unique NFTs. They have utility on these actual platforms. So if you look at something like what Gala Networks is doing, and I believe that they sold one of their NFTs for like $85,000 or $80,000 I was reading about. You really have to start getting into understanding some of these different applications with blockchain, not just these NWO coins that we know are being heavily held down and manipulated. You know, I would consider XRP potentially in that grouping. But I also believe that XRP is just going to rise. I believe that it's decentral, but I don't know. I still think that there's some sort of manipulation going on there to an extent. But everything's manipulated, right? You cannot take that and think, you know, man, I'm so upset. My asset that I'm in, I know that it's going to be big, but it's being held down. Well, that's fine. We'll garner a bag up with that and then potentially move on to something else that you think can move up in value. Those Polka Pet things that I got into, they were 0.15 Ether to get into. One of them selling for like 0.45 Ether right now. And this was like a week and a half ago. One of them selling for like 0.2425 Ether. So got to take the gas fees into account too. But check out Crypto Eddie's video. Check out Gala Games. Check out, obviously, you guys know how big Flare is, essentially bringing smart contracts and DeFi to the XRP L. So yeah, it's really interesting. I would recommend checking this out. I'll post a link to Eddie's video down in this description. We can see this Gala Games, and this is what happens in these types of markets. This is 7 days. This thing has done a 600% rise in 7 days, 6x. I know people were buying this right now. I won't touch anything if it just did a 6x, but that can bite you too. I was waiting for entries into AVAX, which is Avalanche, obviously, for the past few months, and I'm probably not going to get one during this bull market. That doesn't mean that I won't be getting one during the next bear cycle, though. You better believe it. I will be loading up on Avalanche. There's some other digital assets as well. So what I'm trying to, essentially tell you guys is that buying into pumps may not be the best idea. However, and this is why not everything is going to go straight up and it's not going to stop, okay? There is always going to be somewhat of a newly developed floor after these bear markets end. We can see with Ethereum, going up past $1,000 or whatever it was last bull market, and it went down to like $80 during the bear market. So I am not buying into these 600% rises in price. If I find an entry that makes sense to me, I certainly will do so, but I'm looking for ones that haven't done a 600% rise in price yet. So that is my goal in this market. Some of them don't pan out. Some of them I've lost 20, 30, 40% on, 50% on. But if I can pick 5 and 2 or 3 of them do a 2x or a 3x and 2 of them lose 50%, I really don't care at all. So It is what it is. I'm paying attention to everything in this space. This is extremely important. I want to share this with you guys real quick. This is Brian Brooks. Galgatron posted this or retweeted from James Rule XRP. I will also put James's YouTube down in the thread of this video. So this is Brian Brooks talking about if he believes that XRP is a security at this point in time. And I think this is very important because the SEC has been very clear that certain things that are offered as unregistered securities in the past may not be securities now. So we may be seeing some sort of a settlement here. So I'm going to play this for you real quick.
Obviously, there's some people coming into the Biden administration who agree with that. You know, if it is true that Michael Barr is my successor at the OCC, I think he's likely to have more of a thesis similar to mine on this. He has a background having spent some time on the Ripple advisory board, for example. And on the other hand, Secretary Yellen has said some relatively skeptical things about the asset class. So I don't think it's a partisan issue. I think it's more about who's a tech adopter and who's an innovator versus who isn't.
Brian, speaking of Ripple, you worked at Coinbase, you worked in the government, albeit for under a year. So tell us, is XRP a security, yes or no?
Well, you know, these are complicated questions and matters of pending litigation, so who can say? But here's what I would tell you, though, which I think is the most important issue about XRP, and that is there is a difference, okay? There's a difference between the way in which an asset is distributed and the nature of the asset at a given moment in time. And I think the issue in Ripple that gets lost in all of the discussion is whatever happened in the original distribution of XRP tokens, 10 years ago, and whether that was or wasn't an unregistered securities offering, that's what the courts will decide. That's a different question from whether XRP today is a security. And the SEC itself has said that assets can change their nature over time as they achieve utility and as they achieve decentralization. So if I had to make a prediction, I'll just make a quick prediction, and that is that there is a settlement to be done here somewhere. And the settlement has to do with the distribution of the tokens so that existing token holders can continue to trade them and find value in them the way that they do.
Really, really interesting. Now, you have to take this with a gigantic grain of salt. We know Brian Brooks is the former acting comptroller of the currency. Really doesn't have anything to do with the SEC at this point in time. So this is all speculation. And I somewhat think that something like this may go down as well. There may be some sort of a settlement. I certainly have said it many times on this channel. I do not believe that XRP is a security as it currently sits, but it may have been in the past, in my opinion. And I don't know. We'll see how this shakes out. But we've seen, well, it was called Ripple back in 2017. In like 3 weeks, Ripple essentially went from 30 cents up to $3.55 or whatever it ended up being. If you don't think that can happen again from a purely speculative basis without utility-based aspects of XRP like on-demand liquidity, which used to be entitled, XRapid, and all of these different things, Flare networks coming about, the borrowing and the lending, it's going to be insane in my opinion. I have held on to XRP. I hold on to any of the digital assets that I believe have utility, and some of them have not pumped yet. And I really could care less because I've seen what XRP can do. I believe in XRP's utility, and I also, I think that this ends up shaking out in a positive light. There's just too many holders of XRP, and the network is too decentralized at this point in time, in my opinion. So we'll see where this goes. Last but not least, I just want to give you guys a heads up. There are other assets yet, many assets that are going to be big, in my opinion, that are not released yet. This is China's blockchain infrastructure services provider, BSN, which is a blockchain service network, adds CASPER to the network. You can read into what CASPER is here, an Ethereum competitor that aims to launch in Q1 of 2021. So this is this quarter, ladies and gentlemen. And you can take a look at CASPER, CoinMarketCap, obviously not released yet, only on 89 watch lists. And you can check out Casper Labs if you want to do so. So trying to find these things before they're released, before they pump. Now, my only caveat to something like Casper, I'd have to look into it a little bit more. I'm assuming there's a crap ton of money backing this thing. So the concern is looking at token economics to see if you could potentially be dumped on massively when it initially gets released. So that's always a concern as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, trying to be as transparent as possible. Try to keep a level head, people. I know that it's very, very hard to sell when something is going up in value because that little greed monster kicks in. Now, what I will say is I think we've got time left in this bull run. But if you get into something that's brand new, or if you invest in a brand new digital asset, and it does something like 1,000% or a 10x, you know, you really, I've been trying to realign my thought process here because I have a hard time with the same thing. I'm human, right? If I get into something and I've had things, multiple things over the past couple of months that have done a 5x or a 10x, what I think in my head is, okay, and it's really hard to sell. Is this going to go up? Probably. Is it going to do another 10x, or should I cash out initial profits with, or initial investment with some profits? And is there something else that's brand new that potentially could be coming out, or another project that looks like the chart's about to move that could do a 10x, rather than this coin doing another 10x, which would essentially, you know, be a lot, right? Like 100x, right? From initial investment. So you really have to just sit back and try to be realistic about these things. You know, do I ever get into an asset thinking that it's going to do 100x from the time that I buy? No. Now something in the, you know, if you look long-term bags, potentially. But why would I think that if something already went up 10x that it would immediately do another 10x? That's that little weird greed monster in your head trying to mess with you, right? Because you think that stuff's just going to go up forever. There's certainly assets that can do that, but I think it's more realistic to potentially get into something else that is looking like it could do a 10x or a 5x or a 2x even. So it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's news tomorrow, I will certainly present it. Remember, the news and all these media places are lying to you. You know, these prices are going up based on the history of the prices and where they're going to go in the future, regardless of news. News is just another aspect that adds to the hype cycle. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will talk to you later. Bye.